Yesterday when we parted, we were dealing with paragraph 5 of your supplementary statement. So if you could pull out the file with your supplementary statement and go to page 5. And if you are there, I would like you to also open up the exhibit bundle. You recall yesterday we dealt with Constable Stoll's statement in this precious stones matter.
Yes, I recall.
And we also dealt with Constable Mackenzie's statement. You recall that?
Yes, yes.
And then when we parted, we had just considered the entry made at the Rosebank police station.
Yes, I recall.
So I would like to pick it up from there. And if I could then invite you to Ms. Constable Stoll's statement, which is CJC 159. Let's go to 159. That's her statement. It starts at 133, but that is the standard form. Her actual statement is to be found at 145.
Is it 145?
145, sir.
I'm on it.
Thank you. And at 145, we know from Warrant Officer Mulauti's statement, affidavit, that only Constable Mackenzie and Constable Stolz filled in the OB book, recording their presence in Rosebank. You recall that?
Yes.
Do you want me to take you there?
No, I recall.
Okay. And now, when we're getting back to Constable Stoll's statement, she says at paragraph 3, technically, we went to Rosebank SAPS and informed them that we're working in the area. You see that?
Yes, yes.
Now I want us to skip to the next paragraph. We knocked at the door and a white male opened the door. We informed him who we were and he invited us inside his residence. Now, I suggest that the we she is referencing is herself and Constable Mackenzie. Would you have a challenge with that interpretation?
No.
Okay. Then if you look at the next paragraph, in the presence of the male, they searched. And like we indicated yesterday, during the search, there appears not to be anyone from JMPD or from the Gauteng Traffic Department or any other law enforcement entity. Do you confirm that?
Yes, we discussed yesterday.
Yes. And if you go at 146, and I think Commissioner Baloyi pointed this out to you, the second paragraph of 146, it reads, I called the JMPD officer and gave the phone to the white male. Do you see where I'm reading?
Yes, second paragraph.
The white male, yes. The white male spoke to the JMPD officer as well as another person who was with the JMPD officer. Okay? So that tells you that the JMPD officer is not in the room during the search. Do you agree with me?
Yes, yes.
And if we skip the following paragraph and go to the penultimate one, she states, we left the flat and met with the JMPD officer and gave her the SAP 299 and rocks, and we left. So she said they left the flat, meaning, as I understand, at least herself and Constable Mackenzie, and met with the JMPD officer suggesting outside the flat. You accept that?
Yes, yes, yes.
And in fact, I would like to refer you to page 168 of the same file. And to see if you can confirm the persons in that picture.
It's Officer Mackenzie, Officer Kesha, I think it's Etienne, and the white male.
Okay. Now we do understand, and I think Mr. Magagula testified to this, and he identified them the way you just did. Constable Stolz, Constable Mackenzie, and Etienne van de Walt. And Etienne van de Walt is said to be the person with his back to the camera. And the white gentleman in a red top is the owner of the flat. That's how you understand it as well. Is that how you understand it? Now,
please don't nod. Please answer.
Oh, I've said yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm very
so
sorry.
I too didn't hear the answer. Thanks, Chair. Now, this is actually confirmed by the gentleman's partner, and for that I ask us to go to Magagula Annexures, that file.
When you say gentleman's part, are you saying this gentleman's or the owner of the property part?
When I say the gentleman, the owner of the property, the gentleman in red, wearing a red top.
Oh, thank you.
So, TLM 3, page 308. If you have located it, that
308, yes.
Yes, 308. That is the partner of the owner of the flat, and if we go to, let's take it from paragraph 3. She says, on or about 11 February 2023, I heard my roommate, names him, in the hallway of our apartment with talking to other people. I thereafter saw, I can mention his name because he actually has made a formal claim to Ekurhuleni, and he's identified as such, Peter Prinsloo. So at paragraph 4, she says, I thereafter saw Peter Prinsloo talking to 3 individuals. 2 of the individuals were in Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality Police Department uniform, who I later found out were Constable Kishali Stolz and Constable Mackenzie. So the female officer and the male officer respectively.
Sorry?
Yes, sir.
The file, sir. Yes, yes.
Yeah, you're at 308. I was reading at paragraph 4.
Yes.
And she confirms that when she went into that part of the flat, she saw her partner, Peter Prinsloo, talking to 3 individuals. Then she proceeds to identify them. 2 of them were in EMPD uniform, and a female and a male, and she identifies them as, she says, I later found out they were Constable Keisha Lee Stalls and another Constable Mackenzie, the male one. Then she says, and they were with another white male in plain clothes. The plainclothes officer claimed to be from the Special Crimes Task Force. Do you see that?
I see.
Now, if we go to page of the same file, 298. And at 298, you should find an undated statement. And it's a statement by Etienne van de Walt. And he states from paragraph 2, on the day in question, February 2023, I, as with Constable Stolz and Constable Mackenzie, as we were going to go do patrols for truck that had been stolen or used in theft of trailers. I guess he meant he was with. We were en route to our first truck stop when Constable Stolz received a call. Constable Stolz informed me that a JMPD officer had requested assistance in Rosebank and asked if I could accompany them quickly. And then we would continue to do the patrols of the truck stops when we were done. We met with the JMPD officer who informed Constable Stolz and Constable Mackenzie of the help she needed. We then proceeded to Rosebank SAPS, where I stayed in the vehicle. He says, next paragraph, we left SAPS and went to a flat complex. We walked inside as security did not allow us in with the vehicles. Then Constable Stolz and Constable Mackenzie spoke to the building manager and went to the flat of the white male. On entering the flat, the white male and Constable Mackenzie and Constable Stolz went to the bedroom. Next paragraph, I stayed in the lounge area talking to the girlfriend of the white male. Then she informed me that her boyfriend was a gem dealer. We can skip that part about their conversation. I would invite you to the following paragraph where he states, Constable Stolz and Constable Mackenzie came into the lounge after putting brown boxes on the floor in the entrance hall. Then the penultimate paragraph, that's what I'm going to skip to. No, in fact, let me not. That same paragraph. Constable Stolz and Constable Mackenzie were speaking to the white male about what they found. At the point, Constable Stolz called the JMPD officer and gave the phone to the white man. He was speaking to her and then another person when he became very upset and ended the call. Next paragraph. After a while, we left with the boxes and Constable Stolz giving the male an SAP seizure form. We met with the JMPD after, and Constable Stolz and Mackenzie handed JMPD officer the SAP seizure form and rocks. Do you see that? Now,
it's the second last paragraph, ne?
The second last paragraph, yes, that's the last one I just read.
Oh, yes. I think I'm with you, yes.
Now, you remember we looked at the statement of the Mr. Prinsloo's partner, and she speaks of 3 people.
Yes.
We projected the image pictures from the flat, and there were 3 people, and you correctly identified them. And the third person, who's not an EMPD member, is Etienne van de Walt, and that's his statement that we've just read. So, on everybody's version, there were only 3 people who went into the house. for the search and seizure of the items. Are you willing to accept that? And we know that those people now were Constable Stolz, Constable Mackenzie, and Mr. Etienne van der Walt.
Yes, I accepted.
You have accepted that?
Yes.
So there was no JMPD officer?
No.
There was no official from Gauteng or any of its law enforcement in the house?
Yes, I accepted that.
Okay.
I accept.
And that, therefore, are you willing to accept that whatever you term this exercise, it was not a joint operation? This was an operation by EMPD officers with the assistance of Mr. Etienne van der Walt.
Yes, no, I accepted yesterday.
Okay. Now, but no. I don't know if you didn't accept that it was not a joint operation. I'm asking about the joint operation now. Do you accept that?
Yes.
Based on the version of these witnesses, it cannot be termed a joint operation.
It's 4 versions now. Yes.
Say that?
I'm saying it's 4 versions now, yes.
Okay, we'll get to the number of versions. So it's not a joint operation. It's an EMPD. I won't even call it an EMPD operation. It's unfair. But it's conducted by 2 EMPD officials and a civilian in the form of Mr. van der Walt only. Correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Were you aware, did you become aware at any point that is actually what happened in that flat? Did you ever become aware of the people who were inside the flat conducting this operation?
Yes.
Who did you know to have been in the flat?
I communicated I communicated with Officer Mackenzie.
Yes.
Yes, he mentioned that they are still inside communicating or interrogating the suspect.
Yes, you did say in your statement. Now, who did you understand the they to be when he said they are still inside interrogating?
Oh, in that time I didn't ask who are they, but they've said they are still busy interrogating. But I became aware, this is not for the first time to see these photos. When I saw the photos again from Makakula, you see, showed. Then I became aware. And after the communication with them that they were inside, we were there, before Makakula, they communicated with me. It's just that I won't have a specific date that inside they were there. It was EMPD inside.
EMPD itself. When did you become aware of this?
I won't remember.
No, just estimate.
When did this take place? March 2023.
Yeah, this is March.
I think all activities, I became aware after my suspension when I came back because I was starting to ask many questions.
Yes, you came back.
Let me say early 2023 or 2023.
Yes, because you were suspended in February of 23. And then reinstated in May of 23.
May, yes, end of May. It was 3 months suspension.
So by then you knew that it's these 3 people who conducted that operation?
According to me, because I communicated with, I nearly said Kuzus, it's his nickname, with Masego, then I communicated with them, but inside the building, they confirmed that it was them inside the building.
So when you wrote your latest statement that we looked at, the one that you prepared in 2026, why do you still persist with the notion that this was a joint operation when by then you knew the only people in that flat conducting this so-called raid were your 2 EMPD officers and a civilian?
I still confirm that I communicated with Masego. I even went with Masego. You see, that's why I said yesterday it was ill discipline when when Commissioner was asking me that when they go to an area, do they parade together or do they go separate or do they go? I said it was ill discipline, but the statements are confirming that inside. In fact, they confirmed that inside it was them. Then I agree.
And as you say, you learned of that when you returned from suspension, which is May 2023.
Yes.
But in 2026, you still maintain it was a joint operation. And, let me finish my statement, to share with you what particularly concerns me. You identified one person to justify the notion that it was a joint operation, Deputy Chief Inspector General Maseko, who passed away on the 25th of October 2025.
Oh, yes.
You say JMPD was part of this operation, but you don't identify anyone from JMPD. But only Deputy Chief Maseko, who you said is with Gauteng Traffic Department. Gauteng Traffic Department has got nothing to do with investigations and searching for precious stones, does it?
We do operations, and when we do operations, sometimes we are not specific. When we check even their mandate, it doesn't talk about, as I've made the example many times, that it doesn't talk about infrastructure and what, but due to the crimes that are taking place in Gauteng, there are flexibilities, even us when we check in terms of other things, in terms of our mandate, but due to the information that we get, due to the work that we are doing, when we check in terms of the law, when we talk about investigations, those powers are not with us. But when they are following information, the other person may say, but no. Here you are no longer following information. You are now investigating. You see, then it changes. But in terms of legislation, it talks another thing, which is different from what is happening. That's why I couldn't even answer some of the question when you were raising them. Say, but in terms of the legislation, and I was saying to the commission, but operationally this happens like this. But operationally this happens like this. Whereas the mandate and the legislation talks a different language to the current situation, to the current crime, to the current operations that are taking place. We are correct when you say the mandate, it's limited, not only to Gauteng, but to even us and other law enforcement agencies. But when members are operationally, they tend to, or they happen to do work beyond, but sometimes they do work with investigating officers, and I agree with you.
Okay, so you might take out from your response is that the commissioners should understand that the Gauteng Traffic Department undertakes investigations to seize unlawful items from people's homes. That's the experience that you have.
Yeah, because we've done many operations jointly.
So they do conduct themselves in such a manner.
Yes, we've done many operations jointly.
And yesterday, during an engagement with Commissioner Khumalo, in response to a particular questions about investigations, you specifically say they don't do investigations. That is why you say you don't do investigations and say that's why we hand over to SAPS. You said that.
That's what I even said now.
So EMPD doesn't do investigations, hands over to SAPS. Your understanding is that the Gauteng Traffic Department does not have lawful authority to do investigations and seize, but notwithstanding they go right ahead and they do it. And this particular operation involved investigations. So you have two arms of law enforcement that are undertaking exercises beyond their mandate. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes,
under the guise of a joint operation.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. You consider that fully lawful?
It's legislated. I can't contest it. You're correct. Even though operational is a different thing, but I fully agree. That's what is happening. The mandate limits us.
What do you agree with?
The mandate limits us. We're limited in terms of legislation.
No, can you please listen to the question?
Oh.
I don't want you to concede something you don't understand.
Okay, thank you.
Do you mind repeating
Okay.
the question, advocates? Please listen carefully,
Yes.
Commissioner.
I understood, and I've always understood, and in fact you confirmed it yesterday in your engagement with Commissioner Khumalo to a particular question, and you pointed out to Commissioner Khumalo that EMPD does not have the power and they don't do investigations. That's why the EMPD hands over investigations to SAPS.
You are correct.
Did I understood you correctly?
Yes.
Now, as we understand, at least I understand it, and my understanding may very well be wrong, the Gauteng Traffic Department does not undertake investigations and raid people's houses. And you just confirmed that although the legislation says they don't have that power, you have done that with them on many occasions.
Yes. Commissioner, may I limit myself in terms of Gauteng? Because I don't have development about any legislations, amendments and what. But in terms of EMPD, I can. Because I don't want to find that I'm contradicting myself or putting other institutions that I don't have any, because that developments now. There were traffic wardens, the legislature, there are many developments that are happening in that institution. I can't put myself in that institution, but let me focus on EMPD. I'm requesting that.
Okay. I'm happy to do that, except
yes.
We were fine when you admitted that members of EMPD went and conducted this raid in Rosebank.
Yes.
And I'm saying to you that you sought to legitimize that by submitting your 2026 statement, in which you dragged in Deputy Chief Inspector General Maseko and the Gauteng Traffic Department.
Yes.
And you maintain that is correct because you, EMPD and Gauteng Traffic Department conducted that unlawful, that raid jointly. So I'm saying, you are saying two law enforcement units within the country jointly undertook an unlawful raid of a citizen's flat in Rosebank. And you consider that acceptable?
It's difficult to say yes, because it's not the only operation. I must talk to commissioners that have been taking place. And in those operations, they were able to place the evidence, they were able to place those cases in court. And they were placed in court. Some of the people were not in the same case. Some of the people were prosecuted with that information, or with what they placed in the court of law, and they were placed in the court roll in different areas, even outside the province. And those cases, they were having prosecutions. You see, now I'll be inviting litigations to all those cases, and whilst there were prosecutions and everything. And that's the challenge that I'm having, Commissioner, because once I commit, and as I'm telling you, as I've said before, that it is still happening. It has happened. Officers are working on the ground. It's just that I don't know, they communicate with this, communicate with that, as I confirm. But when we read the story, it's something different from what they are writing here. That's the challenge that I'm having. I don't want to say fear. I don't want to find myself putting my city into many litigations, whereas these things are happening operationally.
Yes.
But in terms of the mandate, in terms of the legislations, the investigating powers were limited. We're not even limited. They belong to SAPS. That one I know. And in 2026, in your supplementary statement, you say this was a joint operation with 1, province, 2, JMPD, and 3, Gauteng Traffic Department now through the person of Chief Inspector Maseko. So there are 3 different entities that are part of this joint operation. You are correct.
Okay. You don't remember who from province, who was dealing with this matter from province? You didn't recall last time. Do you recall today?
No, I've said it's Maseko. And I've said I don't communicate with juniors. I can't go to an institution and communicate with their junior.
So province here means Gauteng Department?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Traffic, there are 2 then. But you remember the Chief Inspector Maseko, but you don't remember the JMPD representative?
No, I didn't communicate. So
how do you know that there was a JMPD involvement in this effort?
I communicated with Maseko.
Oh, so you're suggesting that Chief Inspector Maseko assured you that JMPD is part of the operation?
I'm not suggesting. I'm not. That time has come. Humble apologies. No, I'm not suggesting, I'm saying so.
Okay. Now, I would like to share my concern with you. This story comes up for the first time in 2026, 3 years after the raid.
Yes. You are correct.
No one, including those who undertook the raid, are aware of any joint operation. You confirm that?
According to their statement.
Yes, that's all I have.
Yes.
Okay. And in 2026, my concern is, in an attempt to legitimize the conduct of Stolz and Constable Mackenzie, you concocted this story of a joint operation, and in order to persuade the commission, you selected the one person who unfortunately has since passed on and is not able to speak for themselves. I find that truly concerning, and let me share with you my conclusion. You did so because you knew today as we sit here, Chief Inspector Maseko will not be around to contradict your story. So you will lay this at his doorstep. What's your comment to that? And I must say, I find that particularly disturbing. That you would do something like that.
Thank you. May I respond?
Yes, please.
Yes, please check the comment, as I've said that, and the comment of Makakula when he was, not a comment per se, when he was presenting, you can't say it's a comment, it's just like a quote. When he was presenting.
Which said, comment? Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
My apologies.
He said, I communicated with Officer Mackenzie. And Officer Mackenzie mentioned, I even mentioned that yesterday, that Mkhwanazi was not alone. He was with the senior who's wearing this. It's just that I didn't see that statement.
Yes.
You see, of Mackenzie. Because because I'm limited in terms of my display hearing says I can't communicate with the children, or I can't communicate with the employees of the city. You see, he said I was with this person, and Makakula informed me that, statement now that I want. I even said it yesterday that I want this statement and not to focus on the one that I've said when Commissioner Balu was asking that, but you submitted this, now you are submitting this different. I said yes, because now I'm concentrating with the person that I was with, and I'm saying again, I was with Deputy Director Maseko. Not to say because he has passed, I don't like to, in fact, even if you are alive, as I've said yesterday, I don't want to point at Robert Schulz. I'm doing an example, because it's not there. Anything that I'm doing, when I'm wrong, when I took a wrong decision, I'm always taking ownership. I learned from that, you see. But even here, Makakula is mentioned, and I'm mentioning it as per my statement. And that time, no one had seen by that time, he didn't even see the statement. When Makakula mentioned it, he said, no, I rejected that statement because I want him, yesterday he said he want me to write for someone's statement or something like that.
No, let me correct you. I read from Mr. Magagula's statement.
Yes.
Where he says Mr. Magagula, rejected your February 2026 statement because you had called for a warning statement. And what you gave him was not a warning statement.
You're correct.
Okay, yes.
Yes. But in saying so, I'm denying what you're saying. There are two people now that are confirming what I wrote here. The investigating officer and the other officer that is investigating. So we're talking one and the same thing. Well, not only me.
I can tell you for a fact that in his statement to this commission, Mr. Magagula doesn't claim the presence of another person with you. He doesn't. So you can take that as a fact, unless you want us to go into the transcript.
He mentioned that I got the statement, and you even mentioned yesterday that it was submitted, I think, on the 6th of February, January. It's a supplementary statement of Mkhwanazi, as I remember.
Yes.
Yes. Where he mentioned. Yes.
So
that means it's him that Officer Mkhwanazi and Officer Magagula confirmed before he even received my statement.
No.
Maybe I misunderstand. Sorry, Mr. What are you saying, Mr. Magagula confirmed?
That when he interviewed, or when he communicated, let me say so, with Officer Mkhwanazi, and in his statement that he got now, Mkhwanazi added that when I visited, or when I came in to Rosebank, I was with the senior officer, Masego, in the vehicle.
Okay. So you're not saying Mr. Magagula was confirming that you were with somebody else. You are saying he was repeating what Mkhwanazi told him.
Oh, yes, let me say so.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
You are correct, Commissioner.
Okay. Thanks, Mr.
Ms. Silo,
Yes.
I think this is when the issue arose, as far as I can recollect.
Commissioner Kumalo, I'm very sorry.
Sorry, let me try to speak up. I'll tell you what my concern is, and I think I understand what you are saying. My concern is that when you were initially interviewed by IPID, you misled IPID, both you and Mkhwanazi. Because neither of you told IPID that you, Julius Mkhwanazi, arrived at the Rosebank or Kilani address. And it was only when IPID obtained CCTV footage of the area that they noticed that there was a white vehicle parked outside of the premises. And when Mkhwanazi was interviewed, because he was seen going to the white vehicle and speaking to somebody, only then did he confirm that the person who was in that vehicle and he spoke to that person was you, and you were with another senior officer. And I think that's what you are referring to now when you say Mkhwanazi confirmed to Magagula that you were in the vehicle with this person who may or may not be Gerald Maseko. But my concern is you and Mkhwanazi initially misled IPID, because when IPID initially interviewed the two of you, you did not mention that at some point while the operation was ongoing, you arrived at this address. Am I correct that when you were initially interviewed by IPID, you did not mention that you arrived at the address?
You are correct, Commissioner.
And that it was only when IPID confronted Mkhwanazi with the CCTV footage showing that he went to a vehicle to speak to somebody, that he confirmed that that somebody in the vehicle was you. Correct?
I was not there, Commissioner.
No, but you are referring to what you say Mkhwanazi told Magagula. And in relation to that, you don't say I was not there. You are quite comfortable to say this is what Mkhwanazi said.
Commissioner, it is me, and even yesterday I emphasized that I arrived there.
No, but initially you didn't tell.
We are correct there.
You didn't tell IPID that. It is only when IPID obtained CCTV footage, which shows that Mkhwanazi went to the vehicle to speak to somebody. And when Mkhwanazi confirms that that somebody is you, only then do you confirm that, yes, I arrived at this Kilani or Rosebank address.
Commissioner, as I agreed yesterday when Commissioner Balui said, when I said the statement that they wanted is the confirmation of these two, that they were there. Then he said, but your statement doesn't talk about confirmation. It's now having an additional information. I think what I did is to limit myself or to add the information, but limit that information. I agree with you that I didn't add other information, that yes, I did arrive, I did check on them. There I agree.
And this shows a pattern, there's a pattern of behavior between you, Stolz, and Mkhwanazi. It's the same issue with the Brakpan murder and the same issue with the Kilani Rosebank incident, where you seem to be protecting each other. You don't place each other on the scene unless evidence is shown that you were there, and only then do you admit that, yes, I was there. And it's a pattern between the three of you to protect each other. That's my observation. And my question is why? Why are the three of you always protecting each other, only giving the authorities what you think they need to know, and when you are confronted with evidence, only then do you give the full information? Why do you not give full information from the beginning?
Commissioner, to answer you, I see these photos for the first time.
No, you don't have to see photos to know that you were at the address.
May I answer?
Listen to me. Why did you not tell IPID that I know about this operation because I was there? I was there and I spoke to Mackenzie and I know he was part of the operation. Why did you not tell IPID that from the word go?
Thank you, Commissioner Khumalo. If you listened yesterday, I've said I communicated with Makakula. I told him, he said, for now, give me confirmation of these two. I will come back to you. That is why I even said yesterday, I've said to Makakula, but you waited for a long time. Why now are you rushing me to do things like this? That is why you see mistake and everything in this statement. But that's what I've said yesterday.
So your excuse is that Makakula did not ask you this. That's why you did not tell him.
No, it's not an excuse.
Okay. Let me ask you this. In relation to the Kilani address, have you ever seen a criminal complaint that justifies EMPD going to somebody's house, raiding their house and confiscating their rocks?
No. I haven't. Remember, I was now limited because there were investigations. I can't interfere and want to start searching and everything to like I'm interfering, and I can't communicate with the suspect.
But for you to investigate a crime, there must be a criminal complaint. You can't just show up at somebody's house and raid their house. No, if EMPD was part of an investigation and needed to go to somebody's house to raid their house and confiscate goods, there must have been a complaint.
Oh, now I get you.
Have you seen such a complaint?
No, we communicated. We communicated with Maseko.
Did he show you that complaint?
No, there was no formal. As I've said, there was no formal document.
Because what this looks like to me, you say you are the one who tasked Mackenzie and Stolz to go there, right?
Yes.
To me, I'm not speaking for my co-commissioners. To me, it looked like you tasked them to go commit an armed robbery.
No, I'm not that type of a person. I'm not a criminal. I don't do those things. You can even check in my history, in my background. I'm not linked to anything that has to do with these things.
I'm not talking about the history. I'm talking about this incident.
No, Commissioner.
Because if there's no criminal complaint and you go to somebody's house and you confiscate rocks and there's no paper, there's no record of where those rocks are, what happened to them, then it's an armed robbery to me.
You know, Commissioner, to answer you, after I've read the statement and they've said they've handed over evidence and the documents, I think the investigations will lead us to something, you see, because your concern is my concern. Where are the rocks? Where is the person reserving who's that person? But I think Makakula will assist us in his investigation. I think we're going to get something. We're going to go to the core of this thing. Because you have been saying this concern before yesterday when I was doing my supplementary. You asked, in fact, you are not even directing this case. You just asked, good way, when you get things, what do you do? What's the procedure? What you must do? We explained, I explained. But I think the investigation will lead us to something.
But why does IPID have to investigate? If it's an EMPD operation, EMPD should know what happened to the rocks. Where is the paperwork? And your officers just say, we handed them to the EMPD officer. Full stop.
And they are mentioning the name.
No, they don't.
No, in the first one that they communicate. Look at the second paragraph, Commission, of both of them. That's why my argument yesterday was, but the first paragraph talks to this person, and the last paragraph, but I don't want to defend, because I'm not part of the statement. But what I'm reading here, that's why I'm saying the investigation will lead to, but let me put it here, I'm not defending anyone. I'm not, and I will never do that. I can't put my life at, let me say so.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumar. I think, just to make a small correction, the only person who mentioned the name is Constable Stolz in her statement, and all she says is a JMPD officer, Moto. And I don't know if I asked you, I suspect I did, whether you knew who Moto was, and you said you don't know.
Yeah, you have mentioned that many times, I agree.
Yes. So, and there is no other further detail about Moto anywhere in the statements that we have. Only Stolz speaks of Moto. And claims she is from JMPD.
I still maintain the investigations is going to assist us.
No, I was correcting. We're dealing with the facts. You are talking about the future, right? So you accept that only Stolz speaks of a Moto. We don't know. She doesn't say whether it's a constable, warrant officer, or doesn't even give the rank. Says Moto from JMPD. Now, you, with your experience, where would you start the investigation to determine who Moto is?
According to the statement, it says Moto JMPD.
Yes.
When you go to JMPD, you can track the surnames and track the
So we just
it has happened many times, and we're able to get those individuals.
Okay.
You see, it's just that I was not with them when they are drafting some of the information. I'm seeing it for the first time.
Yes.
But I'm having hope that we'll get to the core of what not even Commissioner Kumar, of what was supposed to happen. And when they had it, what document they hand over and what type of stones. Because to me, I know them as, fake stones. But now, the language has changed again. You see. It confused me. And what you have said again, Commissioner, yesterday, that when we entered in the police station, it was about robbery. You see. Now I hope that the investigation would put us where we were. The robbery at Nigel, not Rosebank things and everything. That's why I was saying it's an Afghanistan in America now, you see. Because I'm confused too now, you see. But I want to stick on what I have discussed with the late, you see, and I. But again, I don't dispute what I'm saying. Mosu and the other person, Commissioner, who's that person? You must be specific.
Commissioner Mkhwanazi, no. Let's not confuse each other and ourselves. What other person? I pointed out that the only person who has identified someone else is Constable Stolz in her statement, and she said she was informed or got a telephone call from a Moto from JMPD. That's all. What other person is there now?
There's a paragraph that you are jumping or you are forgetting. There's a paragraph which you read which says they called Constable Muso and they gave it to Constable Muso, gave it to the other person communicated with. Then the guy dropped the phone. He was so emotional. And then I want to know who the other person is.
Indeed. And that other person, that is the statement.
Yes.
You can look at the statement.
297.
Yes.
It's 297.
Stolz's statement.
Yes.
Which file are you holding? It's that where...
Regular annexures.
Yes, 297 is paragraph 2.
Now, before you go to 297, let's go to 296. The point I was making is at paragraph 3 of 296. Paragraph 2, sorry. where she says, I received a call from Mozo, a JMPD member.
Sorry, it's paragraph
2 at 296.
Yes.
All she says is, I received a call from Mozo, a JMPD member, with
Commissioner,
a request.
Sorry, Commissioner.
Yes.
It's starting February 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
I was on duty and in full uniform when I received a call from Mozo, a JMPD member. Then she sets out what the request was.
You are correct.
Okay?
Yes.
And I was saying that at least I was hoping you will direct Commissioner Kumalo to Chief Inspector Maseko's successor to help identify who Mozo is, because we don't even know Mozo's rank.
Yes, you are correct.
And is that what you are proposing? Because it was a joint operation.
Yes.
As much as you tasked yours, they tasked their people.
Yes.
Yes.
Then,
What you are referencing is at 297, which is now what Stoll says. Let's go to 297. It says,
paragraph 2.
I called the JMPD officer and gave the phone to the white male. That is now Mr. Prinsloo, right?
Yeah,
the owner of the flat. The white male spoke to JMPD officer as well as another person who was with the JMPD officer.
Yes.
Okay. So
proceed.
Okay, if I must. When the person explained what documents and permits were needed, the white male got extremely nervous.
No, there's something that you're skipping.
Which?
Let me read it. I called the JMPD officer and gave the phone to the white male. The white male spoke to the JMPD officer as well as another person who was with the JMPD officer. You are skipping that. You don't read that. And I've detected it. That's why I'm saying your words and your skip this one that is not going to benefit the other person. And this is a commission of inquiry. I must be honest. That's why I'm saying when I see I failed, I must accept that we did wrong here. You see, even if we were brigadier, but we did wrong. Accept. I want you to lead me and assist me. And whilst you're doing that, you're also teaching me. I'm learning from that. You see. Because education is dynamic.
Yes, Commissioner Mkhwanazi, what are you saying about this paragraph?
I'm
so
saying
that we are not confused.
Yes, I'm saying
you're making.
The officer from JMPD was with another person. You see, then we are not sure is that Deputy Director Masego or the other person. Because of what she said to me, that I was going to be happy if you said they handed to JMPD officer and Masego. Then I'm saying, I don't know who's the other person. It may be him, you see. That's why I'm saying the investigation will assist us to get to the core. Because I'm limited when I'm here.
Sorry, can I
can't give you 100% answers. I was not there.
For now, I just want to understand what it is you are saying. Are you saying that what did they hand over? And because you say something about handing over and you're not sure if it was handing over to Maseko and another person. I just want you to explain, what are you saying that paragraph that you have read correctly into the record? What are you saying it conveys?
No, I was answering her.
Yes,
when she
saying
says,
what?
When she said, sorry, not her, sorry, Commissioner. I was answering the commissioners.
Okay.
Yes. When she said, I was going to be convinced that they handed it to JMPD officer and Maseko. Then I'm saying, she was not alone when they were communicating. She was not alone when they handed. You see, I was not there. I don't know what happened. You see, I'm saying the investigation will assist us in finding out who's the other person they communicated with. You see, because now it shows that the officer was not alone. You see. And I can't say 100% who's that person. I was not there.
But we also don't know what officer was on the phone. We don't know the people referred to by Constable Stoll. We don't know who are these JMPD officer that she called. and we also don't know who the other person is.
Yes.
Okay.
You are correct, Commissioner. That's why I'm saying the investigating officer from IP, not from the Commission. In his maybe he may be able to assist us. I agree. I don't blame the Commission. No.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with you, Commissioner Baloyi.
Thank you. Yes, I'm not very wise, but maybe keep trying, sir.
No. Okay. I appreciate that, Commissioner Baloyi. You are still at page 297.
Sorry, before you continue.
Yes, Chair.
Commissioner, repeatedly you've referred to an investigation that you believe will be of assistance. Earlier, when you were being engaged by Commissioner Khumalo, I was not quite sure what investigation you were referring to, and it was the same when you were engaged by Ms. Sillo. After the engagement by Commissioner Khumalo, you again referred to an investigation. It is only now, when you are being engaged by Commissioner Baloyi, that you say you are referring to the investigation by IP. I just want to be sure in my mind what exactly you think will be of assistance. And what exactly that investigation is, or what investigation you envisage?
The question that was asked by Commissioner Khumalo, from my first day of my appearance here, you see, it's the procedure of handing over. In fact, that's what we're discussing even now. Where do we hand over? How do we hand over? And to who? To whom or to who? You see, it's going to assist us. And why did they hand this thing, or why did they give it to this person and the other person that we don't know? It's going to assist us to find it there. Because there's a person who says, whether they're legal or illegal, you see, but they took my property. You see, I think it's going to assist us to find that. And there's a case that has been opened. You see, all of us want to be clear in this thing and cleared. Let me say cleared to this thing.
In these, in the engagements I've just referred to, somewhere you even mentioned Mr. Maseko, who was with you in the car.
Yes.
So I'm not quite sure how you would factor him when he was with you in the car. You would have witnessed anything that involved him because he was with you in the car. Did I miss something?
No, you didn't miss something, Commissioner.
Yes.
You are correct.
Can you explain
Yes.
that?
I was trying to answer when the commission, let me say so. You know, I always forget evidence.
The evidence leader.
Yes, when the evidence leader was saying she was going to be not happy, but she was going to receive it well. When I said they gave it to the officer and Senior Director, Deputy Director Maseko, you see. And I've said, I don't know who's the other person that they were communicating with. You see, after we have left or afternoon, who did they meet and what. You see, I can't answer, I can't confirm. But I do want to know. I do want to get to the core of this.
But I'm sure you accept that whatever investigation you have in mind cannot assist with regard to the question whether this was a joint operation or whether the two EMPD officers involved and the civilian were not involved in a joint operation and appeared to have, as I suggested to you yesterday, to have acted on a frolic of their own. That investigation cannot assist in that regard. Do you accept that?
I accepted yesterday, but experience that I know, Commissioner, investigations, they take a different direction. Whilst you think it's taking this direction, it may find that they will come and say, we gave all the stones to Mkhwanazi, the one who was testifying. No investigation, you can't, even if you can try to temper. It's having its own way. The end results of the investigations. You see, when you started this commission of inquiry, we were talking about looking at this and this. But now when it continues, it involves many things now.
But even this part that you concede is quite crucial to what the commission is investigating. So that's why I just wanted to be sure that you've not gone back on what you conceded yesterday.
I fully agree, Commissioner. Yes, Chair.
No, thank you. Yes, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioners. In the investigations that you propose be undertaken, we must accept that when Constable Stolz at page 297 says, I called the JMPD officer and gave the phone to the white male, that part that you say I skipped, right? The white male spoke to the JMPD officer as well as another person. Do you see where I'm reading? Do you see where I'm reading?
Yes.
Okay. Can we accept, at least as a departure point, that this other person cannot be Inspector Maseko? Can we accept that, or do you think it might possibly be him?
Yes, I think it might. It might.
Might be him.
Yes.
I thought Inspector Maseko was with you in your vehicle.
No, I'm saying afternoon, there might be other people that have
in the afternoon.
Over. Yes. But I can't conclude that. I was not there. You see, that's why I'm saying now I depend on this investigation. But I agree.
Let me remind you before you confuse yourself further. You had said something which is what took us back to Colonel Constable Stoll's statement.
Yes,
this is Constable
correct.
Stoll's. She is still talking on the phone with the JMPD officers while they are in the flat, just to orientate you. They are still conducting the search. The white male she references and to whom she says she gave the phone is the owner of the property. It's Mr. Prinsloo.
You are correct.
Yes.
You are correct.
Or now you know where.
Yes, no.
Whether it's afternoon or morning, you know where we are at.
Now, yes.
And I was suggesting to you that the second person that she suggests Mr. Prinsloo spoke to on that call cannot be Inspector Maseko. We can accept that for a fact.
If it's earlier, it cannot be him. Not Inspector, Deputy Director Maseko, yes. I accept that.
Okay.
I accept that in terms of the statement. When you check the times, I now accept that, yes.
Because on your version, I called him Inspector, my apologies. Deputy Director Maseko was with you at this time.
Yes, and that one was with me, yes.
Yes. So the proposition I'd made to you is, don't you think it would be easier for the Commission to approach the late Deputy Director Maseko's office and speak to, or at least address ourselves to his successor, to request the successor to go into the records and to help us determine who Director Maseko had tasked for this operation?
I will request that you go to both because
who's the both?
You seem to be forgetting JMPD, you see, because we want to find the truth. Let's go to both. I'll be happy. We don't single out.
What?
We don't single out.
Go to JMPD to ask for what?
Who's this officer that they handed to?
How do you propose that inquiry is made? Constable Stolz doesn't give a name at all of who in JMPD she spoke to on the phone or she called. So how do you suggest that anyone would go to JMPD and ask what question and to whom?
Oh, there's a name.
What name?
Mutsu, something
No.
like that.
Mutsu is the person that caused, according to Stolz, to Constable Stolz, Mutsu is the person who caused her to end up in Rosebank. That's all she says about him. I got a call from Mutsu that he needs help in Rosebank. And we went, booked ourselves at SAPS, and then we proceeded to the apartment. There's nothing in page 297, paragraph 2, that tells you that the person she called on the phone is Mutsu.
Oh, it's paragraph 2 of page 296, Commissioner Balui.
Yes. In 296, paragraph 2, Constable Stoll says, I received a call from Mutsu, a JMPD officer, who requested assistance. That's what she says.
Yes.
In 296. And then in 297, paragraph 2, she then says, I called the JMPD officer and gave the phone to the white male. Why do you say that's Mutsu that she's referring to in 297?
She wrote that 296. That's why I mentioned the name, because I took it from paragraph 2, sentence number 2 of paragraph 2, Commissioner.
So you're saying the person that she called when they were in the apartment, you're saying it's Mutsu that
Yes,
she
that's
called
right.
when they were in the apartment?
Yes, but it's her who can explain better than I. You see, but I'm saying where I'm standing. My understanding is that. Yes, that's my
And
understanding.
you say someone must go to the JMPD, let's say to the head of the JMPD, and say, who is Mutsu that Stolz talked to?
Yes.
Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes. Maybe it may be a person who's there or who's not there, but I'll be satisfied.
You didn't ask Stolz when you got a report from her about this. You didn't ask her, who is Mutsu? What is the full name of Mutsu? And what is his surname? You didn't think to ask that in 2023.
Yes. Commissioner, remember when I came back from suspension, they were detained, there was limitation between me and because they were internal investigation, they were suspended. When I came back, before they were on suspension, they were suspended whilst I'm suspended. Then they were arrested. You see, it's difficult to, even now I can't just interfere.
When you did your first statement to IPID, remember that first statement?
Yes.
You did it on the basis of what they told you. You didn't think to ask who from JMPD called you.
No, I communicated with IPID. Makakula communicated, relayed the stories and everything. Then he said, can you submit on that?
No. You're not answering my question, what I'm asking you. Your first statement to IPID says they were on duty on the day. And then the third paragraph that we discussed yesterday says that they received information, right, about someone who's defrauding the public on social media, and they got a call to go and assist. In that, you didn't ask her, who did you speak to from JMPD?
Oh, no. We are correct. No, I didn't. We are correct.
Thank you.
Humble apologies to answer. I know that you are feeling it very softly, Commissioner Balui. I must listen before I answer.
Commissioner, I'm not sure what the point of this would be. That is following up on Mutsu and getting whatever information from her. Here is why. Do you remember that yesterday you said how assistance is rendered unfolds in this manner? The metro requiring assistance contacts the other metro, remember?
Yes.
Yes. And then the other metro will agree to assist, remember?
Yes.
And what will then happen next will be for the two metros that is members of the police departments of the two metros, will then meet up. Remember? Yes. And then they will then move to conduct the operation. Remember?
Yes, correct.
Jointly / together.
Yes.
Correct? Yes. Now, when I questioned you along those lines, I then took you to the point that we all know that did not happen here. Correct?
I agree, yes.
Yes. I then took you to the point where I said that none of this happened is an indication that the two constables, EMPD constables, were acting on their own. They said nothing to do with a joint operation. And you agreed, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Now, my difficulty is, and this goes to my preface to this engagement.
Yes.
My difficulty is, where does it take us if there's further engagement and trying to establish whatever it is we would want to establish through MUTSO? We can never, ever be able to say there was a joint operation.
I agree.
You've basically agreed to that.
I agree.
So now, what's the point of all this then that you seem to be suggesting?
No, Commissioner, I'm not putting it to the Commission.
No.
I'm saying,
I want to understand your thinking.
Yes.
I want to understand your thinking.
Okay, thank you. I'm saying the investigation may lead to something.
Which is what?
To find out who took the stone, where did they end up to. You see, I think it's going to assist us. I'm not saying the Commission will do that. It may take time. It will depend how he uses from people.
From where I'm sitting, that's for the criminal process.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Criminal proceedings. I'm not so sure that I understand the relevance of that for our purposes. Because what we are investigating is the influence of criminal syndicates on law enforcement agencies. And for now, and based on your concessions, we see what appears to have been unlawful activity by EMPD officials who, acting on a frolic of their own, go to confiscate these stones. Let me not put in an adjective because I'm not sure about their nature. Who go and confiscate these stones. That in itself is already criminality from where I'm sitting. Do you want to comment on that?
No, I don't have. We discussed that and I agree this. I can't reopen it. And I even thought again we have gone through this yesterday.
No. This is a different question now. It goes to the question of criminality.
Yes, no.
I'm suggesting to you that for EMPD officials to move from Eguruleni to go to their area on what you've admitted, which I describe as a frolic of their own, is an act of criminality. So it's a different question from where I left it off yesterday. Do you agree?
Commissioner Khumalo asked the same question. I'm sitting with very difficult because these things are happening on a daily basis.
Do you agree or not?
Let me say we agree and we must learn from this.
All right.
So that we correct the situation.
Thank you.
And I know that the department and the officers are listening where they are.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. If we can then move on and I would like to invite you to look at, if I can just find my place. I want us now to go to the statement of Mr. Prinsloo. Before we do so, in response to a question Commissioner Khumalo asked, I think you said you are aware that a case has been opened regarding these stones.
Yes, as per what you said yesterday.
Oh, you only learned yesterday?
Yes, but there's a case number in all these documents. There's a case number.
Yeah, I'm trying to determine when did you learn that a case has been opened?
When I communicated with Mr. Makakula.
Okay.
Yeah, as an investigating officer.
Oh, so he told you that that's when you learned?
Yes, I'm not sure about the date.
That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine. And what clarification did you give him that would assist with the investigation of the case? That if you're talking about the Rosebank case, no, I was there, and there's more I can say than the original duty on, duty off statement. Did you offer him that?
Remember, I met him that time, but I'm still going to meet him because he said...
Now, I want to know what happened in the past. We'll come to the future.
No, we met once. We didn't meet many times.
When you learned from him that a case has been opened, did you offer any information that would assist with the investigation to say, I was there's something I can tell you about that matter?
Now, if he wants that, he will get it, Commissioner.
Come again?
If he wants that, he will get it from my side.
I want to know if you offered Mr. Mkhwanazi.
No, I didn't offer.
Why
because,
not?
No, there were many. They were, as I've said, I was interviewed by 5 people for different things. Some are in, some are not part of this. And the time when we communicated, it was 2-3 hours, but all of them, they were asking, it's like I'm in a commission. 5 people were asking different questions in different activities with other things that are happening. Some, it was before me, some, it was part.
Okay.
But I'm willing. In fact, I'm a police officer. I must avail myself and assist. I will do that, Commissioners.
Have you provided the warning statement that Mr. Makagula has asked for?
You asked me yesterday. I said
No. I spoke about the second statement. I'm asking you now. Have you provided a warning statement?
You asked me that yesterday. I said no, yes.
Do you intend to do so?
Sorry?
Do you intend to do so?
It's a must. I must do it.
When do you anticipate?
It's a procedure.
When do you anticipate you'll have done it?
Maybe next week, because I must consult first. Yes, I must consult first.
Yes.
Because no, I'll communicate. I will communicate with him. We are communicating with him.
Because this comes from 2023, and Mr. Prinsloo is a victim whose concerns must be addressed. So the investigation must be finalized for him to get redress.
I assure you. I assure the commissioner too. I assure the commissioners and the commission. In fact, I've been doing that with Makakula in all the things that he wants.
Yes.
I've been doing that.
Now, let's go back. We're not going back. We're still on your statement, your supplementary statement. I'm now at page 6. There's one aspect I would like to cover with you quickly before we break for tea. Your supplementary statement, page 6. Now, remember we're still dealing with paragraph 5, so I'm dealing with the third subparagraph of paragraph 5. We're at page 6, right? The paragraph just before the heading on the issue of kidnapping.
Oh, yes.
All right, it reads, but the briefing I got in the afternoon was that all paperwork was then handed over to the other team. And I think during the course of our engagement, you indicated that the paperwork referred to there, as you understood it, as the record of what Constable Stolz and Mackenzie had done in the execution of this operation.
You are correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And if we, staying with that, we go to Constable Stolz's statement at 297. You should still have it open.
Yes.
She states in the penultimate paragraph, we left the flat and met with the JMPD officer and gave her the SAP 299 and rocks, and we left. You see that?
You are correct.
And you recall when we looked at Van der Waal's statement, he also stated the same,
yes,
that they were handed over to this so-called JMPD officer.
Yes.
If all that is correct, then going back to your statement, that same paragraph, I was told that all other documentation were taken by Rivers Peace and Henny Erasmus. That can be correct.
It's correct, Commissioner, because when they were arresting them, even Mr. Makakula confirmed that they went into their vehicle. I was suspended. If they went into their vehicle and confiscated all the documents, everything. There's when you check in one of the evidences, you see, there's where they confirmed that they took everything. Mr. Revo was there, Revo's Peace was there when they were arrested. There was one of the directors or the seniors, and I was not part of IP, then SAPS officers. They went to both vehicles whilst they were all, as I've said before to Commissioner Kumalo, that I know that Stolz, in terms of administration, she writes everything. You see, they took all. Some of the information we may get there. That's why I was saying that. Anyway, integrity and standard investigating officer and the management, any document that involves anything that has to do, they take it. Like me, they took the laptop, you see, so that there can be further investigations, because most of the time I use the laptop. That was when I wrote this, that was my input in terms of that they took everything. And Commissioner Kumalo asked many times, are you sure? I've said, I know Stolz rights. Any Stolz rights, you see. That's why I even trusted in terms of admin, that even the inspector then depended on her in terms of doing admin for that team.
So, and I asked this question because when I read Constable Stolz's statement, where she says they met with the JMPD officer and gave her the SAP 299 and rocks, and Etienne van der Walt, who's the civilian who was with them, says more or less the same. And your statement, you say they briefed you that same afternoon that all paperwork was handed over. So I interpreted that to mean all paperwork arising and concerning that particular operation was handed over. No. That's what you say.
Let me correct the afternoon. Let me say they briefed me that they took everything. There's something, I don't know which attachment is that, in my first evidence, you see, there are statements that I've attached, I think it's more or the same, but where she writes many things, and you took my documents, my work, you took my clothes, you took what in the vehicle. I attach it as I got it. I say, this one I don't want to temper. It's an affidavit, I attach it as it is, and it is talking to what?
Commissioner Mkhwanazi.
Yes.
What is being put to you is that you say in relating to this operation, forget the clothes and many other things. What is being put to you is that in your supplementary statement, you say that they briefed you and told you that all paperwork was handed over to the other team members. And you agreed with Ms. Sillo that this paperwork you're referring to in your supplementary statement relates to the operation itself. So that's what you say in your statement. And then Ms. Stolz, you referred to what Constable Stolz says. She says, we left the flat and met with the JMPD officer and gave her the SAP 299 and rocks, and we left. So you, in your statement, you say they briefed you. That says they gave the SAP 299 to the JMPD officer. So there's commonality between what you say you were briefed and what Stolz says in her statement. But then, in your supplementary statement, you then go on to say that all other documentation was taken by Rivers Peace and Henny Erasmus.
You're correct, yes.
And that is being pointed out to be a problem because you've already said in the same paragraph that Stolz briefed you, Stolz and Mackenzie, told you that they gave the paperwork to team members. That's what is being pointed out to you as problematic.
Thank you, Commissioner. When I'm saying documentation, I'm not talking about what they handed there. I'm saying the information that may assist, as per the question that I got before, that will we get something that says they did this, they handed over this. I was not limiting myself to because I was not there, but all the paperwork of administration, not let me say documentation, because when I'm saying paperwork, it's confusing me. The documentation or the file or the book or the what, I'm not sure what to use, the diary or book or what, that you write everything. Because Commissioner Komolo said, but if we can go and check, maybe find something. I said, they said all their documentation and they were raising that frustration when we were all back and saying, Luna, there's another frustration that we're having now. We can't find our things and everything.
So wait, let me interrupt.
I think I must correct my paragraph and put it in a manner that is going to be understandable.
I think that's what I'm trying to clarify with you without having to write something else down. Let me just try and clarify this. In that supplementary statement, the second part of that last paragraph where you say, I was told that all other documentation were taken by Rivospis and Henny Erasmus. You are not referring to the Rosebank operation. You are saying their documents in general, just like and laptops and clothes and everything, but you're not referring specifically to the Rosebank operation.
Yeah, it may be part of the information, it may be part of, but not only, I agree with you. Yes. You are correct.
Yes.
You are correct, yes.
Because if they did, you have to agree, because if they did submit the documents to the other team, as you say, the paperwork, to the other team, as you say, and the SAP 299 to the JMPD officers, then the documents relating to that operation are not the ones that were taken by Rivospis, because they've already been submitted to the other team.
Yes, on that.
Thank you. Yes. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. So then, when it states that I was told all other documentation was taken by Rivospis, this is it's not documentation relating to the raid, as you have just admitted to Commissioner Baloy, right?
But Commissioner, may I raise something? I'm not sure what is right in there. You see, I don't want to say to this commission, no, it's not. Then when they get that documentation or when they submit, it talks to that, it confirms to that. But the paperwork that they said they submitted, I'm not talking about 299. Let me say, yes, right to 299. I'm not talking about that.
Okay, I think we'll try and regroup. I think it's tea time, and perhaps
let's adjourn and resume at 11:25. When there's something, hey, they jump and